They are preparing. Okay, here we go. Hey, Laura, how's it going, TG? It is Friday. I got the day right today. Um, so I'm excited because it's the weekend, but also in Chicago, it's a beautiful day. It's not too hot yet. Okay, there's a breeze and it's sunny. And we're gonna talk about something about summer, right, Laura? I'm excited. What's going on?
Oh, hi, Deb. It's so good to see you on Friday again. Um, I am so excited because we're going to talk about something tips of making safety part of your summer fun. A lot of the stuff we've already talked about before, and I know a lot of you know it. It's not like we're saying that you wouldn't know it, but we're trying to put it in your heads before the summer starts and we get all into our fun and everything. I think we waited so long to get warm weather in the Chicago that we're not even thinking. I'll give you an example. I went to the pool yesterday and I didn't bring stuff that I normally would bring to the pool because I was just so excited to go to the pool. So that's what I'm talking.
Just like a little kid, right? I love the pool too.
I was like so excited. I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot this. Okay. But don't let injury ruin your fun of the summer. Okay. And there always is something that always happens, but let's just be safe, and there's so many things. Sun safety. Okay. We've talked about this before.
Yep.
It's easy to forget the strength of the sun. Okay. We talked about that with using sunscreen. And, I looked it up because I couldn't remember if you could use your sunscreen from the previous year. And I did just look it up right before we went on. It says you can for at least 1 year. And it made me think about it because my granddaughter went to go open the sunscreen from last year and it was all caked at the end. And I said, well, let's clean it out and get to the newer stuff that's behind it. Remember to apply the sunscreen, back of your neck, even the tips of your ears and the tops of your feet. Deb, do you have anything to say on that? Anything to do about the sun? You're a sun
I do. I can't wait to go to the pool. Hopefully this weekend I might be able to go. My in-laws have a pool at their place. I love it. I got two things. One, what's your take on the spray versus the lotion? Because I love the spray application, but do you feel like you're really getting a good coat on there? Do you think it's better? I mean, what do you like better?
Well, I gotta be honest with you. I like both. I like use both.
Okay.
We'll put the cream on first and then spray.
Okay. Okay.
For example, they're talking about your ear. I didn't even think about my ears. And you know what, too? Another tip, Deb. Because I might have darker skin.
Right.
I have to wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
And my daughter, she's mixed. Okay. She's biracial. And she still has to wear sunscreen, even though she's not. We forget about that stuff. But doing the ear part, that's just amazing. I never even thought of that.
Well, I think the reason I think of that is like perfect example. My grandson today they have field day, so they're outside all day. So this morning we were like spraying the heck out of him, getting it on his ears and stuff because the little boy haircuts, like, you and I, when our hair's down a little or something, maybe it wouldn't be in the way. But it is so true. And, I probably shared this before that I did have some skin cancer. And so I have to be very careful, and I know that back in the day, when we went to the dunes, remember the baby oil? Oh my God, the baby oil, and we had the blankets and we would be like on that silver stuff. And I mean, we did everything that we should have never done, right? But we had no idea. You guys, we did not have any suntan lotion at all until Copper Tone came out, remember? And then now we've got, 20, 30, 40, 50, I always go for the higher. Do you go for the higher one?
Yeah, I do. And another thing too, you remember how they had like the Tropicana oil and all that? You can't find that stuff anywhere. Everything else is different. It's all has, what do they call that? What do they call that?
SPF or?
Right, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
They have all of that in there and they're more creams and sprays, but there's no like the oils and stuff that you used to have, the ones that smell like coconut and stuff. I couldn't.
Right.
Yeah. But also, it says here to avoid sun exposure from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., even on the day, because that's when the sun is at its peak. Well, if you're gonna go to the pool and stuff like that, that's fine, but you got to be careful about mowing your grass, if you're going to be out there, or you're going to, a lot of us like to go to the zoo and stuff in the summer. Just be aware to be extra cautious about what you're putting on when you're going there. But Jack, since you're a hairdresser, I'm just going to bring this up here.
Oh yeah.
Tell them what we could do to our hair before going in the pool.
Oh yeah, you know what? Good point. Thanks, Laura. You know what? If anybody has a Trader Joe's, this is one of my favorite things. You know that serum? They have this little serum that comes in a little bottle, and it's coconut oil and shea butter oil, but it's oil, and you pump it. It's phenomenal to mix with some water, regular water, and coat your hair, because you don't want your hair to absorb the chlorine. So like if I went in the pool with this lighter hair and I was swimming around and they had just really chlorinated, my hair can get that tinge of green or just ruin my hair color or ruin your hair color or whatever. So, and if you don't have any conditioner of any sort, even just straight up water will help, and then everybody, especially women, because guys don't really have to deal with it too much, but we should do conditioning treatments. It's always good too, a mask. They have masks for hair, like thicker, whatever conditioner. But we got to take care of our hair because the pool and the sun can really damage it,
Right.
It's just the same thing.
Right. That's what I was saying, because I didn't bring anything yesterday. My hair feels like hay today.
It'll happen. Yeah.
So, you wet your hair, right?
Mhm.
The serum in, and if you don't have it, could you put conditioner in your hair and then go in the pool?
Yeah, sure. And I mean, here's the thing, even that one that I was talking about, that Trader Joe's one or any other conditioner, but especially the water will help your hair repel the chlorine. Okay. So it fills up the hair because the hair will absorb it. The hair's like a sponge, so it'll absorb it. So
That's
definitely.
good. I mean, you're not going to have like residue in the pool because your hair has conditioner in it.
You know what? If it's just like body oil, it's like there's got to be people jumping in the pool that had lotion on, so the lotion is gonna. So I mean, I think I wouldn't worry. It's not like you're gonna have it all packed on there.
Yeah,
So,
right.
but
Let's go to skin safety. All right, Deb, you want to talk?
okay, yeah. Let's go to that. Like, okay, well, first of all, we got to also remember that there's other things that go on during the warmer weathers, and we can have, tick bites, which I'm not too familiar with ticks, but I know that when I was a Girl Scout leader, they used to always like prep us on that and talk about that. So ticks, insect bites, and also rashes from plants. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so do you remember when we went canoeing for the
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh or bring that up.
St. Mary's and the teen group, and who's the one that gets the poison oak on her rear end, okay, and leg is me. It was horrible. I'll never forget that in my whole entire life. It was just the worst thing ever. But we were in the woods and whatever. But anyways, you have to be mindful. So you really should do your due diligence if you're going to any of these outdoor functions to make sure you know what you're looking for, because it's poison oak and poison ivy. And if your skin comes in contact with that, believe me, it's painful, and it can ruin your experience and all that. Yeah. But the tick bites, the insect bites and stings and all that kind of stuff, that's another thing. I know that you have to, they say, use insect repellent with at least 20% DEET. I know that some of these things are not healthy. So I do know, if you know any Avon ladies, okay, they've got that one Skin So Soft. That stuff repels stuff like crazy. But you know what I do too is, I don't know if you know this one, Laura, but I get straight up Listerine mouthwash. Okay. And you buy it and comes in the thing like this, and it's that yellow kind of color. Yeah. You pour it into a spray bottle and you spray your body with it. And I'm telling you, that stuff repels like a lot of the mosquitoes and stuff. And then also I learned from my sister-in-law that if you're sitting out on a patio or a deck or something and you have a Centrella candle, carefully place it in the middle of the table on the ground and make sure everybody knows it's there so they don't get their foot in there. But if that candle is kind of down there, you're not going to get your ankles all bit up. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
But you just got to be careful because you could, have an accident. So, anyways, but that is actually a couple of my things. How about you? You've got some stuff
in there, make sure that you wear shoes and not Those if you're going to be like in a forest preserve, so a lot of times people have family picnics out in forest preserves, or you're going to go on a hike. Make sure you're wearing shoes and not sandals, and
Mhm.
and that you have socks on. I know you
Mhm.
might get hot, but you really need to do that. You need to wear a sleeve shirt that maybe you could roll down and up. Okay, a hat, which is
Mhm.
important. Okay,
Yeah.
and gloves if you want to, because you don't know what the ticks. I get so afraid of ticks. I've gone on like on the internet. I can Google and look up tick bites and stuff, and I look at some of these things, especially in animals.
Mhm.
Oh, that is so terrible.
Yeah.
But
Scary.
there's another one, and we all know this, but this is just we have to really talk about it. Is before you take a drink out of your soda or water or whatever, make sure and inspect it so there's no insects in there. You know how those bees like to get in there and flies? I've known so many people
Yeah.
drinking out of their soda and they got bit by a bee. Do you
Yeah.
I mean, that's could be pretty terrible. And
Right. It's it's funny you said that because you know how you and I have these, water bottles?
yeah,
And of course mine's got lipstick up here. Jessica told me that to be careful that sometimes they can get into the straw, like and be down there, like even like little like spiders and stuff. And now she's got me freaked. I'm like always looking too over that. The
yeah,
other one is, Lori, think about this. This happened to me one time. So I have a pair of old gym shoes that are in my garage that I use like when I go and I'm gardening and I'm mowing the lawn because that's one of I believe it or not, I like to mow the lawn. It's like weird. It's like therapy. So, but I have this pair and they're just slip on old shoes. I always take them and just kind of check them because one time I put a shoe on and I got bit by something and it bit me right between my two toes. I mean, it was so painful and I don't even know what it was. I never really went to the doctor. It ended up going away, but something bit me. So must have been a spider or something. I don't know.
could be a spider. You never know.
Yeah.
I worry about that too. We talked about the poison ivy and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, it says here you don't really start feeling it until 48 to 72 hours afterwards. That's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
And,
And then bee bites and stuff and stings.
you know, those little flowers, they're not the dandelions, but the ones that are like a little purple and white,
Hmm.
pineapples. Bees like to go to those a lot.
Hmm.
Be careful. So, and even when you're mowing the grass, be careful
Yeah.
what you're gonna run into. Did you ever have any beehives or wasp things around your house on the walls?
I have, and we've luckily like found them and got rid of them, but they're nasty. You gotta be careful, because ooh, yeah.
I mean, are they easy to get down? I've never had.
Usually they are, so not too bad, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's go into one of the biggest things for the summer besides the sun, and that is vehicle safety.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about, your own particular car. We're going to be talking about that, but talk about, bicycles. There's a lot of people out riding their bikes.
Hmm.
They're, going in, swerving in and out of things and stuff, and emergency vehicles. Now, I live in an area where I have one of the biggest trauma hospitals in the Chicago area, and there's just emergency vehicles constantly going down the street.
Hmm.
Debbie, name some of the other ones that they have here.
Yeah. Here's another thing. Helmets. Okay. I know kids hate to wear helmets. I know that they don't, right? They hate it. But my dentist even said, it's like we were talking and she's like, you know what? Just think about it. You got to protect that brain because that brain is gonna, you need to keep that brain healthy. And so, I got to tell you, my grandson, he wiped out this last weekend on his scooter. He was, I mean, he was a mess, but he had his helmet on, didn't hit his head. So, but make sure that if you have a helmet for anybody, that they are properly fit too, so that they're not wearing them halfway and it's not. And also, I just think that it's really important that you just keep these kids in your eyesight, like these younger kids, just don't let them go flying down the street or flying on these like vehicles or whatever they are, because here's the problem. drivers are not always aware. Too many people are just not paying attention. So this is definitely something really, really important, I think. And then did you also know that if you are an adult and you drink alcohol, you are not supposed to ride a bicycle? like,
Right,
like
right.
you, like if you're drunk, like you think, oh, I'm going to go to my neighbor's house
Yeah.
and I'm not going to drive my car, but I'm going to drive my bicycle and I'm going to have a few too many cocktails, and you're drunk and you're driving on your bicycle, you know that you are breaking the law.
Even anything that's movable like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you got to remember motorcycles are huge for accidents.
Yeah.
Um, I I know it too well, being in the flower business for so many years, it's terrible. And a lot of times the motorcycles, they run in packs.
Yeah.
A lot of them are not single all the time. So you got to be really safe about that. And you got
Right.
to make sure too, vehicle safety, as far as making sure you have all your coolants in your car.
Right.
Make sure you even have for the windshield wiper fluids. I know it's the summer, but you need to wipe the windows.
Right.
Make sure, this is very important, okay? You might think I'm nuts. Make sure your hood is down and it's secure.
Yeah.
You know why? That happened to me once.
Oh.
The hood flew up in my car and I could not see, and I had to stop immediately.
Oh boy.
I was praying and hoping that nobody would hit me. You can't see a thing when that hood goes up.
No, you're right.
And a lot of times, we'll put water in the car or we'll put coolant in, and we think that we shut it or it's not shut right away. And you don't ever want that to happen to you, even on a highway. It's like being blind. So I just
Totally.
thought about it.
Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, about that alcohol is kind of amazing too. You don't think about it and stuff.
Yeah.
I see adults on those riding skateboards.
Oh my gosh, they have like the little handles up here, right? And they're like, and my one neighbor who lives like about 2 blocks down, an adult man, okay, rides his little thing all the way to my other neighbor across the street. And they all have like a bonfire. And there are a couple guys and they watch like whatever sports channel is on. They got a TV in the garage. And then he rides his little thing back. And it's hilarious,
Right.
I don't know.
What I want to get, and everybody thinks I'm crazy. Have you seen the tricycles for adults?
Yes, with the basket in the back.
Tony has one. Joan Obley has one.
Yes, I think they're cool.
Bad. Once my legs are a little bit better.
Yes.
The greatest thing. If anybody has never seen one before, look it up. There's tricycles for adults.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either, but
No, they're not. They're nice.
yeah, they're nice. I mean, especially for somebody like me that struggles with balance, what a great idea, because I used to love riding my bike. I mean, we lived on our bikes when we were younger. And
Oh yeah,
yeah,
exactly. No, we were big bicycle riders. Oh my God, we went everywhere,
right.
everywhere, everywhere.
But we are, well, what time is it? We have here a lawn and yard safety. We talked a little bit about it.
You know what? There's a lot of stuff that you have to actually think about when you're mowing your lawn. I mean, you really like the twigs, the stones and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they can pop up so easily. You really have to be careful. And another thing with the lawn safety is, not everybody's lawns, especially, I got to tell you, my lawn is very uneven, and so honestly, I got to be careful so that I don't like twist an ankle or whatever, because boy, that's not going to do me any good. Right. But, stay hydrated too. Honestly,
yeah,
hydrate.
yeah, it is so true. It is so true. And anybody that has a problem with that, which I suffer with sometimes because I don't drink enough, when you're dehydrated, you're so unmotivated, you're tired, you're even going into depression.
Right.
Perfect. It's not even good. So keep yourself hydrated. If you don't like plain water, put a little flavor in there, or something.
You know what I carry in my purse? I carry like at least 2 of them. You can buy them at just about any store, Target, Walmart, Amazon, whatever, and the little and Jewel or whatever, but the little pouches, and you've seen them, they have all different kinds of things that you can pour, Crystal Light, whatever. But Propel and Gatorade make them, and they have some of the electrolytes. So there's sometimes where water is going to do the job, but maybe you really got yourself really dehydrated and you need something with the electrolytes, and you pop that into a water bottle, and it'll make a big difference fast. Because just so something to think about.
Yeah, and they're talking about wearing eye protection and ear protection.
Mm-hmm.
On pants, do not wear shorts when you're out mowing because you will get hit with a rock or
Mm-hmm.
a twig and cut your leg.
Right.
Store your lawn chemicals and pesticides in the original containers, because you might want to, oh, I have a little, I'll put in this bottle, and then nobody knows what it is, and then
Oh, good idea.
so, but there's so much stuff.
Yeah.
Do we have time for one more, Deb?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, good. I want to talk about water safety.
Yeah, good one.
It's fears, there's over 4,000 people that die a year in the United States from drowning.
Oh my God.
Whatever, women, whatever, everybody's at risk. Are we, a lot of these, believe it or not, a lot of the drownings are from having too much alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And that I knew somebody that was drinking and jumped in the pool, but jumped in the wrong end where it was shallow.
Oh.
He broke his neck. He didn't die, but he broke his neck.
Oh boy.
Stuff. And if you have pools and you have especially built-in pools, you need to have a fence around that pool.
Mm-hmm.
I have a saying that says 1 second can change your life forever. And
I always say that, and I think of you. Yep.
Yeah. And you know what, Debbie? You had an upright pool above ground.
Mm-hmm.
You tell what would be the safety thing to do with an above ground.
I'll tell you what, I was a nervous wreck when the kids were, okay. And I was very anal about this. And I made sure we had the ladder that went up and it locked, and we had like a lock around it. And we also had a fenced in yard. Okay. And then we had it pushed back, and we had a deck. I loved having a pool, but I told my husband, if I ever had a pool again, if I ever had the ability to have one, of course, in a perfect world, I'd love a built-in one, but I'd want one with those retractable covers that go over the top. And so that you could literally, my cousin had one, and you could literally walk on top of the cover from side A, point A to point B, and it'd be fine. But I'll tell you what, if you are a pool owner, you've really got to be careful. Kids, remember when we were younger and all the guys in the neighborhood and stuff like that, they used to always like to jump the fences and jump in people's pools. That's so stupid, because you don't know, what if, God forbid, they hit their head or something, I mean, and a pool owner, they're at risk then, because it's in their yard.
Right. So, right. I've heard of it. I've had people drowning in pools or in somebody else's pool.
Right. But so I think pool safety was a good one, Lori. And you know what? Whenever you just cannot take it for granted. I mean, most of the pools that you and I will probably attend will have a lifeguard, okay? But you can't take it for granted that lifeguard can see and do everything. So you got to be kind of very mindful,
Lyric yesterday, she's getting braver in the water. She's all on the other end.
Yeah.
I didn't take my eyes off of her.
Mm-hmm.
Her everywhere she was going. It was a lot of work, and your eyes get tired. Even though they have at Lifetime, they have so many lifeguards and they're so great. You know where your kid is at all times.
Exactly. I'm the same way. With that. I mean, it's scary, And personally, I don't want to be the one that had have to jump in after one of my my grandson, because I wouldn't call myself the best swimmer. I mean,
right.
I'd be able to do it, but I mean, I'm not, the best. But you know what? Here's another one too, just real quick, and then we should be closing it up. But supervise the kids on any other devices too, like trampolines and playground equipment. I mean, these playgrounds, how often are they serviced? How often are they, maintained? Maybe they're fine, but, maybe check the surrounding a little bit and make sure everything's working properly, especially a swing or whatever. But trampolines, you guys, I remember we used to go to this one girl's house and play on her trampoline. We'd flip around, we do all this stuff. We had a blast. Thank God we were safe. But those trampolines are not always the safest thing. Like if somebody, God forbid, falls off, or they could hurt their neck, they can hurt their body. There's a lot of stuff. So practice safety, supervise.
Safety. Stay out of the ER, stay out of urgent care, but
Yep.
know where your urgent cares are at.
Yes.
That's important. So, in your mind, you have phone numbers in case you need. I know you call 911, but just know where the urgent cares are at. You know what I mean? Make sure you have all that information. Make sure your phones, you have your doctor's numbers. I know, say we're going to do it. I have mine, but say, I just write it in my book.
Yeah.
Phones, emergency numbers are always good. There's pamphlets you could get probably download them from the internet about things of, swallowing things, and just have that stuff all available. We are going to put this list on our Facebook page. So if anyone's interested in reading it, but again, thank you so much for always listening to us. And if you have anything, a subject you want us to talk about, please tell us. And please, please, please tell everybody about us, because we want to grow, grow, grow. Debbie?
I have one thing to say, Laura, though, and you taught me this last week, and it was a good one, and we got to share it. So I realized that there's festivals and concerts that we're all going to want to go to. We all have to be mindful and watchful because the world has been a little crazy. Lori and I were talking, and Lori said, okay, if we go, we got to have an exit plan. So if something is going on and things are not looking too good, you got to have in your mind, where do I go in the means of a mob scene or a fight or wherever to get yourself out of and where you're going to go. So you have to have an exit plan. So I just wanted to bring that one up too, Laura.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That brings me to think of this too. If you're going with small children, kind of show them where to go in case they get lost.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Go to a police officer. They have places in the fest, because it's easy. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but you can lose your kid there. Yeah. They like to stroll off.
I love you said that. I love that you said that. That's a really good point. Yeah.
But with that, Deb, you want to close us out, or you want?
Sure. Well, let me just do this. Let me just say that we appreciate everybody. I hope you guys are going to have a great, safe weekend. Practice good safety. And with that, Laura, how about we go with our usual ending?
Yeah. Okay, everybody, have a great weekend. And you know what? I'm Lori.
And I'm Debbie.
And we're friends helping friends. Take care, everybody.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.